In the spider's web. Virgil was beyond confused and flustered and on the edge of panicking. He was laying in Roman's room on his bed with a very disheveled prince in his arms. He hadn't been able to decipher anything Roman had been sobbing into his hoodie. All he knew was that Roman needed him to keep him safe right now, which was why the room was currently off limits to anyone. Patton had tried to enter earlier and had gotten a feral hiss for his troubles. Later Virgil would feel bad about that, no doubt. But right now, Roman needed to rest and tell him why he'd been in such a bad state that Virgil had felt his upcoming panic attack from his room. He'd hurried over and found Roman on the floor, clutching himself and sobbing. Virgil didn't know what had brought this on, but he'd helped Roman calm down enough to get in bed to try and rest up a bit. He'd planned to camp by the door until the prince woke up, but Roman had not wanted to let him go. So Virgil had held him as he sobbed and muttered a long tirade in Spanish against his chest. And now he was sleeping, and Virgil was completely at a loss what to do. It had been a few hours. Should he try and wake him up now? A knock on the door. Virgil? It was Logan. Patton informed me you were quarreling over Roman. Please bring him outside. This tantrum has taken long enough. It's not helpful for Thomas or Roman. Virgil felt a growl build up. Roman is sleeping, and he will rest as long as he needs to, he hissed dangerously. There was a pause. A scoff. Very well. Just bring him to the common area when you are done, Logan allowed begrudgingly. As he heard the footsteps move away from the door, Virgil relaxed a little. Everyone knew not to argue with Virgil while he was like this, and today he was glad for that. Today it kept Roman safe. Roman stirred in Virgil's arms. When the emo defender looked down, he was met with bleary eyes that blinked against the light of the fairy lights. Virgil waited patiently and couldn't help a little smile as Roman buried his face into his chest once more. Feel better? He asked softly. Right away Roman stiffened and shut up, scrambling to the other side of the bed. Virgil, I am so sorry. I was a complete mess, and then I held you hostage, and I probably ruined your hoodie, and Virgil sat up, holding his hand up in a placating manner. Hey, it's okay. I'm not mad at you, Roman. Just breathe, he pleaded carefully. Roman nodded and followed Virgil's instructions, after which he haphazardly tried to smooth out his outfit and hair, with little success. Virgil did notice that moving was hard on Roman. Are you hurt? He asked. Roman looked at him and forced a brave smile. Nothing I can't handle. You don't need to worry. Thank you for keeping me company, but you should probably go back to more important work. Once again, my sincerest apologies, he rambled. Virgil frowned. It's okay if you don't want my help taking care of the bruising, Roman. But I am not leaving until I know exactly what happened to get you so upset, he insisted. Roman looked like he was about to argue for a moment, but then he deflated. Not as if he'd realized that Virgil would not let this go, but like he was too exhausted to even try to fight him on this. Very well. And so Roman curled in on himself and started to recount the events after the wedding. Virgil soon made his way over the bed to sit beside Roman and offer him a half embrace in comfort as he listened to every detail, never interrupting, never showing how he felt about the situation, not until Roman was done. And then you came in, he finished, hiding his face in his arms in shame. One, you are not as at fault as you think you are. I'm not going to sit here and let you talk yourself down like that. Everyone could have done better than they did in hindsight, but you clearly did your best under the circumstances. Second, you are not going to go anywhere near any of the others again without me there, okay? Not until you feel safe around them again. Promise? Roman looked at Virgil in astonishment. I. Yes, okay. I promise, he allowed. Good. Third, we are going downstairs now, but please let me do the talking. I won't let Pat or Logan or Janet. He said the last name with so much anger Roman almost smiled, hopeful that he wasn't as alone as he thought he'd be. Guilt trip you into anything. We are going to do this selfish for self-care method right the frick now. And if they have a problem with it, they'll have to get past me, Virgil promised. Woman nodded, his eyes glistening with unshed tears of relief. Okay, he agreed. Virgil nodded, eyes determined as he took Woman's hand and led him downstairs where the others were waiting. Ah, finally! Virgil, have you? No! Virgil growled, interrupting Logan and his holier-than-thou attitude with his tempest voice, shocking everyone. Virgil! Patton shouted in astonishment. Oh, don't you start with me either. You are also on my shit list right now, he warned. I don't want to hear any excuses. You are all going to listen, and then I'm taking Quincy back to his room for some TLC. And you are all going to leave us alone until we decide we are ready to come out. Understood? Their audience nodded in silence. Good. You, Virgil turned to Logan, are upset about this too, and pretending you are above it all is going to end with someone losing an eye or something. Logan became red and turned away stubbornly. Virgil turned to Patton, not caring much about whether or not Logan was ready to admit that Virgil was right now. And you, I can't believe you. Woman gave up everything to stand by your side. And you couldn't even muster the courage to tell Janice off for using his worst fears against him? For all the manipulating and scheming he did in the past? Woman basically told you how much that hurt him, and you still just stood there to make him feel like he was alone? Like he was the bad guy in the situation? He asked incredulously. Patton tried to speak, but Virgil held up his hand. Whatever you have to say, it's too little too late. Woman shouldn't have laughed at the Jane's name, but that does not give him a free pass for everything else. Speaking of, Virgil turned to Janice, glaring dangerously. All I have to say to you is that even if Roman decides to forgive you and moves past all the horrible things you did to him, if I ever think you might be considering something that might hurt Roman ever again, then you'll wish you had never formed. Understood? You always said I was at my full potential. Well, let's see how you'd like to see it realized up close. Try me. Janice recoiled and cowered under Virgil's glare. Before anyone could try to say anything again, Virgil grabbed Roman's hand again and led him back to the royal room. Once the door closed behind him, he turned to Roman, holding now both of his hands gently, squeezing them comfortingly. Are you all right? I hope I didn't overstep back there. I was just. Virgil didn't get to finish, as Roman pulled back his hands in favor of holding Virgil's face and angling it. Realizing what was going on, Virgil grabbed Roman's wrists and held them tight as he stepped away. Roman, what? He asked, flustered. Roman's eyes went wide with fear and sorrow and guilt and pain. I. You said. When you held my hands, I thought you. Realizing Roman was on the edge of breaking down again, Virgil held his friend's face. Hey, it's okay. I don't want you to do that just because you think it's what I expect from you or because you are emotional right now. I won't let you do even one more thing solely to please someone else. Not even me, he said passionately. But what if I've wanted to kiss you for a while? Would you mind? The woman asked carefully. Virgil flushed, his eyes shooting to Roman's lips and back to his eyes. I I wouldn't hate it if you felt that way. But we probably shouldn't do this so shortly after everything, he argued. But I want to. I promise, Virgil, I have felt this way about us for, well, since before you got accepted, honestly. It was very confusing for me since I thought that I wasn't supposed to like you that way. And then after you got accepted, I felt I needed to prove myself first. And I was still coming to terms with how I felt. And Virgil grabbed Roman by the collar. Just shut up. Whoa, I would really like to kiss you. But how about we take it slow? Let's just, I don't know, cuddle and watch a movie first. We can take our time, if that's okay with you. Woman relaxed and nodded. Cuddling sounded nice. Good. We'll see what happens after, okay? No matter what, I'll be with you. Us against the world? A single tear fell from Roman's eye. As long as Virgil was at his side, he thought he could handle whatever the others would throw their way.